Thanks so much. I'm going to begin by confessing that the Health Impact Fund that I'm going to be talking to you about is a really bold and innovative proposal and a very challenging one. And what I'd really like to be able to do is to make you feel excited about it and to get people engaged. I'll begin with some motivating problems. First, the incentives for innovation in drug markets are incomplete. And this is most apparent in drugs that are primarily used by poor people, since for them, the commercial opportunities don't really reflect the therapeutic potential. Another gap in incentives and innovation can occur in other settings, particularly if patents don't provide adequate protection. And both of these are going to lead to inadequate investment into innovation. The second big problem is that even when drugs are developed, high prices for new drugs can exclude billions of people from use of the products. So the proposed solution that I wanted to talk to you about is the Health Impact Fund. So the idea of the fund is that firms would have an option of registering new drugs with the fund. Registered drugs would become eligible for rewards. And in exchange, the firm would have to sell the drug globally at the cost of production. So to make this attractive for many drugs, the rewards would have to be large. And here we're talking in the billions of dollars annually, which clearly requires international support. The idea is that the annual rewards would be paid out approximately in the same way as in the current system over time after a drug becomes developed and then is being sold to people. Rewards would be paid out for 10 years for new drugs and perhaps 5 years for new indications for older drugs. And the critical point, of course, is, well, how much does each firm get paid? Each firm's reward would be equal to its share of the total health impact actually achieved by all the registered drugs in that year. So the more effective the drug, the larger the rewards that it would get and the larger the share that it would get of the fixed prize pool. In other words, this is a pay-for-performance scheme in which firms would be competing for a fixed pool of money. And again, health impact would have to be assessed each year, looking at total sales and the use of the drug in practice. So ultimately, this proposal is designed so that we pay for what we value, and by paying for what we value, we're more likely to get what we value. So the benefits of this approach are, first of all, that accessibility and availability would be improved for registered drugs, since they'd be priced low, and the supplier would also have incentives to ensure that the product actually reached patients who'd benefit. Second, the Health Impact Fund would create incentives for innovation, for investment into innovation for important diseases where commercial opportunities are simply currently unattractive. And of course, such a fund would require international government support given the scale and also the importance for firms of having some kind of long-term commitment. However, it's worth pointing out that the net cost would be relatively small since governments would also realize savings from the low prices for registered products. So is it the case that the Health Impact Fund is only for poor countries? No, I don't think so. Even in Canada, we have problems with drug affordability. For example, often Canadians don't get optimal drug therapy because they, or their provincial insurer, are constrained by the high prices being charged for drugs. And there are potentially benefits from innovation into new drugs or especially new indications for existing drugs that Canadians could benefit from. So I think it's worthwhile just saying, well, is this actually a feasible proposal? It sounds very ambitious, looking for billions of dollars from governments globally. So I'll just mention a few steps forward that or indications of progress. The first is that the World Health Organization has indicated that they really see this as a promising proposal that they'd like to see move further forward. On a political sense, the German Social Democratic Party, which is unfortunately not currently in government, but perhaps will be in the not too distant future, has officially endorsed the HIF as part of its party platform, and has officially said that they want to see a pilot be funded and to go ahead. What I think is really important is it's also possible to assess the feasibility of this scheme in a limited way by running a pilot or a number of possible pilots. So a pilot would consist of an examination of how the Health Impact Fund would work for just one drug in one country. It wouldn't test the incentives for innovation idea of the Health Impact Fund, but it would test a key part, which is to test the ability to contract over assessed health impact. So we're currently in discussions with a number of pharmaceutical companies about such a possible pilot, and many companies have been receptive about this and they're interested. And since I was very strictly warned about my 1 minute, I'm going to say thank you very much for your attention. And I encourage you, if you're interested, to have a look at the Health Impact Fund website.